Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. If you don't know me, my name is Dr. T, aka Bookworm MD, and this is my YouTube channel. So it's been quite a while since I've done a sit-down chat video, and I have quite a bit of tea to spill, such as the fact that my hospital is closing. What does this mean for my residency program? What does this mean for my future? What does this mean for anything? So let's get into it. So basically, if you don't know, I matched in July of 2022 into Mount Sinai Beth Israel's internal medicine residency program. Now, Mount Sinai Beth Israel is Beth Israel Hospital is the last hospital that was acquired by Mount Sinai. So, matched into this program July of 2022. Now, when I was in the interview season and I was interviewing, there were rumors that the hospital was going to close down. I was assured that the hospital was not going to close down because the hospital had proven to be so beneficial to the people of New York City during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I went ahead and I ranked the program. I ranked it pretty high. I ranked it second. Well, back in May in 2023, which was towards the end of my intern year, my first year of residency, we received an email stating that there was a mandatory town hall that we all needed to attend and that it was emergent. So I hopped on this town hall, which was via Zoom, and on the town hall, there were a bunch of people that I'd never seen before, people in authority that I have never met. My program director was not present at this meeting because she was on vacation at the time. And a lot of us thought that it was a bit sketchy that this meeting was taking place without her there. But we digress. Basically, the people who were on this meeting, the people that I've never met before, they were telling us that our hospital was going to close within the next year, basically during my second year of residency. And a lot of different things came along with this. However, they had this information and they didn't really seem to have a plan for what they were going to do in order to set up this change. So why is my hospital closing? Now, my hospital is not closing because our residents are not performing well, or because our patients aren't having good patient outcomes, or because we're not passing our board exams. Our hospital is closing because our hospital is losing billions of dollars every single day. Now, how is that possible? Well, Beth Israel specifically has been a hospital that has not turned away any patient regardless of their ability to pay. So when patients come in and they don't have health insurance, we still accept them into the hospital, we still treat them, we still admit them. And because of this, we lose billions of dollars a day. Other hospitals in New York, for example, they do not accept patients if they don't have the ability to pay. So sometimes they will come up to the patients and ask them to pay for services up front prior to the procedures, or they will quickly collect payment shortly afterward. Now, I understand that running a hospital is a business just like anything else, but I don't really know which is better or which is worse. I mean, for me as a physician, the idea of turning any person away who is sick, who is coming to the hospital, I just don't understand that. Like, it doesn't connect to me. But also as doctors, I don't really operate on the insurance payment level of things anyways. So maybe that's a little bit of an ignorant statement. So what does this mean for the residency program? So normally when a residency program closes down, which my residency program is closing down, the residents can get distributed amongst other hospitals and other residency programs with open slots in the city, which would honestly probably have been the worst case scenario. But thankfully, as I'm in a system such as Mount Sinai's healthcare system, who has multiple hospitals with multiple residency programs around the city, this is not going to be the case. So instead, our program is actually going to be absorbed into an already existing internal medicine program at another hospital or another set of hospitals. And it is actually going to create the largest internal medicine residency program in the country. Now, this is interesting because when I was applying for residency, I was looking for a smaller residency program because, you never want to be considered as just a number within your residency. But obviously, this is something that's out of my control. What was wild to me was that this year, friends of mine who were applying for the match through ERAS, they had applied for my residency program, Mount Sinai Beth Israel's internal medicine program, and then got an email stating that the program was closed and no longer accepting applicants, which obviously makes sense. But wow, like how wild to think of that. Another thing that's interesting is that when my program was interviewing the current interns, the first year residents that we have now, they apparently didn't know that this closure was going to happen. And so they ended up matching an entire class of residents into our program without them knowing that our program was going to close down. Can you imagine matching into a program and then finding out shortly after you start at that program, and now you've entered into a contract, like you can't not go to that program, finding out that the program that you just matched into is going to close? And with closing, that means major changes that are going to happen. So, it's been extremely destabilizing for me as a second year resident when I have 1 year left of residency, but I can't imagine how I would have felt if I was an intern going into the situation. But the world honestly works in mysterious ways because, like I said, I ranked Mount Sinai Beth Israel pretty highly. I ranked it as my second choice program. But the program that we are actually being absorbed by is the program that I ranked as number 1. Now, that is interesting. However, there's still mixed feelings with it. I think that the fact that I'm in my second year of residency, our year as a whole is affected by this in a unique way in comparison. And there's no need to really compare, but in comparison to the third years who are not as much affected because they're graduating this year, and in comparison to the first years who are basically coming into a system as these changes are being made, and they're not experiencing as much of a shift as those of us in our second year. So let's talk about how the experience has been so far, because I have actually started working at the other hospitals already. Over the course of my second year of residency, Mount Sinai Beth Israel had slowly started closing down services, and we were losing a lot of services within the hospital since July. So it's been a major change and shift to the learning experience from being in residency. This is because a lot of our patients are being transferred to the other hospitals because we simply don't have the capacity to take care of them in the same way. So, for example, when I was in the ICU over Christmas and New Year's, I was seeing a lot of patients that I was being consulted on as a senior resident, and they were interesting cases, and we would help stabilize the patients, and then we would ultimately have to transfer them out to another hospital because our ICU would be full, or we just didn't have the services the patient would need. And so I would get a little bit of learning from that opportunity of stabilizing the patient and seeing what was wrong. But my interns who were stuck in the actual ICU, taking care of the patients we did have, they never got to learn from that case at all. And then it was frustrating because we were sending those patients out for someone else to follow through and diagnose, and for someone else to treat. And it wasn't something that I would, or any of us would, get the chance to learn from, which is important. This is what residency is about. Since moving to the other Sinai hospitals, there have been a ton of great learning, but it's still been an adjustment. It's hard to be a senior in a hospital that you don't know where anything is. And it wasn't they gave us an orientation. It was okay, next week you're going to be there at that place and you're going to have to figure it out. And so, when there's my interns asking me how do I do this or that, systems-based questions, I don't know, because I don't know the system at this hospital. I'm here for the first day the same as you are as an intern. When there's rapid responses happening at the hospital and I don't even know where to find the patients, that's pretty scary, and it's hard. I mean, I had a rapid response at a hospital and I took the stairs because I thought it would be faster. I ended up outside and I didn't know where I was. Thankfully, I'm not the only person who was responding to that, but it's still scary. The other part of it is the part of it that, doesn't have anything to do with medicine. I mean, for example, when you go into residency, because we're working long shifts, early hours, late end times, early start times, a lot of people will choose to live close to the hospital because it's the ease of learning, it's the ease of working. And basically when you're in residency, the idea is you're going to live at the hospital. So residency is your life. That's your number one priority. And I moved to a place to be close to the hospital that I matched at. And now the hospitals that I'm working at are at least an hour or more away. And thankfully I live in New York and I have public transportation, but it's still a major adjustment. Obviously, I always have the option to move, but the housing market right now in New York City is not the best, even on a resident salary, which yes, I'm lucky to make, but it's very expensive, especially considering that I only have 1 year left of residency after this. And in 3 months, I'll be starting my last year of residency. OMG. And I'll probably move again after residency is over for whatever job I end up taking as an attending. So I'm just not really sure if moving makes sense for me. The other thing that I've experienced is that we haven't gotten the warmest of welcomes into this new program or into this existing program, because the residents from the existing program feel concerned that there's going to be extra competition for fellowship spots. And honestly, that's a valid concern. I mean, now there's so many residents, and we're losing a whole residency program that also had fellowships in it. And so now there's less opportunities for fellowship, and everybody has to vie for the same. So I can totally see why that's difficult and frustrating. So in the end, I mean, we are in unprecedented times, or at least I am, as we go through this absorption of our program into another program. It is a lot to deal with. Like right now, I have to do all this onboarding stuff because I'm going into a whole new residency program, and I'm in my second year of residency. Like, I'm almost done with residency. I shouldn't be doing onboarding, but it is what it is. The learning is still great, and please stay tuned if you're interested, because there's going to be many different videos about my experiences in these new hospitals as a senior trying to navigate, because it's a completely different experience than being an intern. It comes with its own challenges. I hope that it will end up being the best thing that could have ever happened. And a lot of my friends from medical school are in this residency program, so that's exciting because I get to see them and join them and be with them. So yeah, it's going to be a big change in my life, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!